Hi, welcome to Blackness and Dragons. I really wish we had a theme song. I wrote one night, but I was drinking and I woke up and I didn't remember it. But this is Blackness and Dragons, Season 2 - Blackness and Magic. We are an actual play Kids on Bike stream. Last season, we were a D&D actual play stream. Why did we switch systems? Because, damn it, no. Originally, I conceived Blackness and Dragons as a one and done type story arc thing, but we had so much fun and you guys had so much fun that we decided to come back for a second season. And when I pitched that, I pitched switching systems because I thought we were going to do like an American Horror Story anthology type thing where it would be the same people, just different characters and settings. And then everyone was so in love with playing their character that we decided to keep the same characters. So we're going to get into how that works later. But I just want to let everybody know what's going on. If you're not familiar with Kids on Bikes, basically, if D&D is Lord of the Rings and Kids on Bikes is Stranger Things, then Kids on Brooms, which is what we're playing, I have misspoke twice now. Kids on Brooms is Harry Potter. So it's going to sound and feel very similar to what you're used to. We're going to have dice rolls. Instead of inspirations, we'll have adversity tokens. The combat system is geared towards not fighting, so good luck with that, Jeff. But we're just going to figure it out. We might have to stop and look at the book sometimes. I know that DK always does their homework, so they'll probably call me out when I don't know the rules, because if we learned anything from last season, I never know the rules. By the way, I'm Jordan. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me on the internet at Lambertra. I hang out in the chat with you guys. And before I toss it off to somebody else, I do just want to give a shout out to my brother, Brian Lambert. It is his 40th birthday. He is somewhere drunk, so he's not watching tonight, but he's a great supporter of the show. And he's also the owner of Wingless Comics, and Wingless Comics is in the middle of more good stuff. So hit me up for that information. And I'm going to hand it off to my good buddy, Jeff, because on the overlay, he's here or there. He's on the next side, wherever.
It's so crazy because on my overlay, I'm right here. So it's bad. Hey, I'm Jeff. I was doing taxes for 4.5 months, and I don't know how to relate to other people anymore. Just send over those 1040s, and I think that's friendship. Speaking of good friends, DK.
Hello, I am DK. If you forget my name, it's on the wall because I'm an asshole. You can find me on Instagram at atrocitykitsch. And coming this summer, you can catch Jordan and I in a real play D&D homebrew stream. Announcements will be coming out for that shortly, so keep an eye out for that. And I am going to throw it to my good friend Moses.
Oh, thank you. I'm Moses. If you forget my name, that's fine. I don't really care. My pronouns are he, him. And every now and then, I like a very hearty conversation with my second tier best friend, Kiki.
Wow. A second tier.
We got tears now.
I didn't know they had tears. In my eyes, you were kind of just always at the top. Like if this was Toddlers and Tiaras, you were, an ultimate grand supreme. But
you'll get there eventually.
Okay. Well, I'm Kiki. When I'm not here, you can find me at The Life of Kiki on all the social medias. And of course, probably reviewing something on Smells Like Teen Angst, where we talk about all of the angsty news and movies and TV coming out. And that's me.
All right. I'm trying to get through all the housekeeping before we start playing. I want to give a shout out to T Finch. Tea like what you drink and Finch like the bird. That's my friend Jenny, and she does all of the great art that you see that we use for promo and whatnot. So, thank you so much, Jenny. You're fantastic. And I love the stuff that you draw. And they have a Twitch where they draw, so you can find them and do that with them. So for those of you who are familiar with Kids on Bikes and Kids on Brooms, the first session is usually a lot of world building and character building and all that. And we actually did that off camera months ago. So we're just gonna hop into it. And I will continue tradition. We're going to start with our Black History quote. This one's from Ella Fitzgerald, and it says, "Just don't give up what you're trying to do. Where there is love and inspiration, I don't think you can go wrong." All right. Previously on Blackness and Dragons, Darius Miller, Buffy Jenkins, Moses Danny, and Morgause Maywood met at the Inglewood College homecoming 10 years post-graduation. At that celebration, they all met up with a mysterious woman named Erica Badont, who lived in an old-timey wagon and gave them a strong strain of weed, took some of their personal items, and ultimately transported them to the Forgotten Realms in a very strange version of a Saw game. They had several adventures and mishaps. They set a lot of stuff on fire. There were some goats. There was an octopus. There was a ghost. Just vampires, like lots of crazy stuff. And eventually they were able to cast a spell that allowed them to leave the shitlands and return home to Inglewood. And upon their arrival home, it seemed like only a few hours had passed. They were all a comma or two richer in their bank accounts than when they had left, and they piled into Darius's Tesla to go get celebratory drinks. So it's been a few months since the Inglewood crew returned home from the shitlands. Darius has reunited with his cat Snugglebear and his girlfriend. Morgause has returned to her beloved sister and her work as a doctor. Moses has propagated the magical weed he was gifted in the Forgotten Realms, and his cannabis business is booming. And Buffy has focused on her healing and expanding her Etsy. And the four of you have kept in touch, as you were forever bonded by your adventure. And while you've been blowing up the group chat with your joys and successes, you've also just kind of found reasons to avoid meeting up. And that's because your time back in this realm hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows and spending your gold. You've been plagued with restless sleep, nightmares, and intrusive half-formed thoughts. Buffy, as you've worked with your guided meditations and crystals, you keep coming back to the fact that you can't remember high school at all. You can remember your early childhood really easily. You remember everything that happened in the shitlands, but there's just a hole in your memories, and that's very concerning to you. So when you finally had enough of this, you send a text message to the group chat telling them all to meet you at Randy's Donuts the following Saturday. Can you tell me exactly how you word that text, please, Buffy?
Yo, I don't know about you guys, but I could really use a pick-me-up. And there seems to be a hole in my heart, and I want to fill it with a donut. So can y'all bring your asses to Randy's? I got Kahlua. The coffee's hot, and the donuts might be kind of crunchy, but who cares?
And can y'all tell me how you respond to this message, please?
I send a gif of like a donut that's just like happy and like whistling.
I'm gonna send an animated gift of Dave Chappelle as Tyrone Biggums going like when he's in the street like dancing, followed by a quick ... Chia.
I almost immediately text back, "You had me at Kahlua, be there in 10.
So in a unanimous decision, you guys all agree to meet at Randy's. And so the following Saturday, you're there. And so for those of you who have never been to Randy's Donuts in Inglewood, it's like a walk-up or a drive-through. It's not a restaurant. There's just like the building where they're cooking, and you can walk up to the counter and order. And there's a drive-through, and there are like tables outside. So you guys get to Randy's Donuts, and you make your order, and you all sit at one of the tables towards the back of the seating area. And y'all start chit-chatting. Tell me what that conversation sounds like.
So, how's everybody doing?
Yeah,
I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, if y'all want to be quiet, y'all can be quiet. But I just need to tell you, I am not zen. things have not been well. There aren't enough crystals in the world to relax a bitch right now.
Oh, you saw that video that's been circulating online about like it's just crazy, and then he got away with it. And I'm just like, what kind of country are we living in? And it's honestly just like, is that not the thing? Is that what thing are you upset about?
You said you had a hole in your heart. You wanna go into that a little bit?
I don't know, guys. I've just been feeling empty ever since I've gotten back here. I mean, you guys remember our adventures. Like, I don't know. I miss Violet, and I miss doing something that had a meaning.
Look, I said when we was in there we should stay. But y'all were like, nah, I gotta get back. I gotta get back to my life. See, now we see eye to eye. I want to go back too, you know? I don't want to be out here slanging this drug, even though this making me this green. Shit.
Moses, are you saying like before we didn't see eye to eye, but now for the first time ever, we're seeing it eye to eye?
Seeing it eye to eye. Seeing it
eye to
Eye
eye.
eye
to
to eye.
Eye to eye.
Like
for the first time.
For the first time.
Buffy, while Moses' suggestion to go back to the shitlands is intriguing, you still are curious about why you can't remember high school.
And I don't know about y'all, but I've been having difficulty kind of, I don't know, transcending through all the different points in my life. Like high school. I can't remember who I was in high school.
Neither.
And as she says that, you all sit there and you try to remember your own high school vibe, and you start to realize that none of you remember high school either.
You know, to be honest, I can't remember anything past 8 years old, so that check's clear. Yeah, those are the dark years.
There's just nothing there. Not like it's like you're right, Kiki. It's like there's just a hole.
Isn't that high school though? Aren't we supposed to not remember high school? Like who? What is
I
this,
mean, I don't know about you guys, but I had a good time in college. I'm assuming that I had to have a good time in high school, right?
I don't know. If you watch all the Disney Channel movies, it's always some asshole that's just pushing you around till you reach your brink, you know. And then one day, you know, you're dating the president's daughter in your smart house, and you look in the mirror and you're like, "What the fuck am I, Xenon? 21st century princess?" I forgot the title of that one.
It's a long.
Okay, Protozoa. But back to the point.
Do y'all ever wonder why the bag lady picked us?
I mean, I just feel like wrong place, right time. Nope, did that wrong. Wrong. No, it would be wrong place, right time. It would be wrong place, wrong time. Right place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong.
And as they're discussing this, Buffy, your phone goes off and you ignore the notification, but you do remember all the guided meditations that you have on your phone, and you kind of get an idea.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie. My Calm app is kind of saying that it's time for a meditation. And since we're all here, and Moses, you might already be in kind of a stony mood. I'm wondering if you guys wouldn't mind just kind of zenning out with me for a minute.
Let's meditate at this Randy's Donuts right now.
Yeah, the edible should be kicking in right now anyway, so let's do it!
All right, you down to talk to some ancestors? Let's get it.
And Buffy hits play, and you guys hear like a calm ocean sound. And there are some birds. What? That's not a bird noise. Pretend I made a bird noise. And you hear the ocean, and you hear birds, and somebody with a gentle English accent is telling you to close your eyes and go back into your past. Into your past. Into your past. Into your past. And you find yourselves in what feels like a dream. However, it is not a dream, it's a shared memory. So from this point forward, we are in a flashback, and I am going to explain how this mechanic is going to work. So the rest of this game basically is taking place in a flashback. As our players, you are basically watching your own memories. So you can make meta comments as your 30-year-old self, but your actions have to be true to what your 14-year-old or 15-year-old self would do. So you can't change the past, but you can comment on it. Does that make sense? Yes, everybody?
Yes.
All right, cool. Sometimes I need verbal confirmation because I can't always see you guys on video. All right.
You're not looking at us, then who are you looking at?
Yeah.
The chat window, also my internet is slow, so it doesn't like running 4 videos at once. My internet is powered by a small mouse on a bicycle, y'all.
Stop.
You know this.
Our Walmart connection.
I don't have McDowell's money, you guys. I can't get better internet. Jesus.
That's true. She
Also,
didn't get any
Jake,
gold.
Stop roasting my accent in the chat. I see you.
The
I
shade
see
of it
you.
all.
Shady.
So anyway, you guys are all in your flashback, and we found ourselves now in the year 2004, and the teenage versions of the Inglewood crew are all at Randy's Donuts on a crisp fall morning. Can you all tell us what that looks and feels like to you? To like 14-year-old you.
The sweet smell of glaze. And wow, there are so many Black people eating donuts. This is why we have diabetes in our culture. I should really stop eating donuts.
Is it the weekend?
No, it's a school day.
Is it like after school, or are we skipping school?
It is morning. It's a crisp fall morning on a school day. Let's just say that's September 3rd. I don't know what day of the week that was in 2004, but we're going to pretend that was a weekday.
It was a Tuesday.
Are you sure? Did you look it up?
Check it.
Are you fucking with me?
Tell the chat to check it. If you don't trust me, check it.
Wow. I don't want you to be right, so I'm not going to look.
Was it September 3rd, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was on this day.
It was a Friday.
Yep. But
it was a what?
It was a Friday.
I messed up?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
September 3rd.
So wait, that was...
I'm gonna still be in my pajamas. I have my sweats, my hoodie, a scarf, and I'm sipping on hot coffee through a straw.
Ouch.
Oh, you're one of those hot coffee through a straw peoples.
Yeah, it just shoots it straight to the dome, you know.
Burns tonsils.
Sidebar, this is a Jordan note, not like a DM note or anything related to the game, but this morning I needed my coffee so bad that I just like inhaled it in one gulp. But then after my body was like, what have you done to me? And then I really did.
Gracious, great balls of fire in your belly.
Anyway, so Moses is drinking his hot coffee through a straw. Buffy is contemplating the diabetes in the Black community. Morgause?
I am full Hot Topic mall goth. Very awkward and like hunched in and trying not to take up space, even though these are my friends. I probably have a book on the table that I'm getting donut crumbs in, and I'm just excited to have been included.
Darius?
I have my hands like this, and I'm just like trying to like make a key blast. So I'm just like every so often I'm just like, was that something? No. I have to keep on concentrating.
And so as your 2004 teenage selves are sitting at Randy's Donuts, you notice that there are a lot of Black people, as Buffy said, but also a lot of kids your age, like a lot of kids. But what you notice is that the kids are like there and then they're gone the next second. And you don't ever see any of them walk away or get into a car or do anything to leave. You just kind of notice like, oh, there's a girl in a red sweatshirt. And when you look back, she's gone. Oh, there's a guy in a beanie. And when you look back, he's gone. And so as your 14-year-old selves are sitting there, you hear somebody say, we need to hurry. Class is going to start soon. And you all look at each other. And what do you say?
What school do they go to?
That's your adult self saying that?
Mm-hmm.
And as you say that, Buffy, you say, what school did I go to as your adult self? You see your teenage self reach her arm out and knock on the center of the table 3 times. And suddenly the Inglewood crew disappears and everything goes black. And when everything comes up again, you are no longer at Randy's Donuts. You are in the entrance hall of Inglewood College, a high school for magical kids.
That's my adult self like looks at like the sign and just like, that's a very confusing name for a school.
Clever.
Oh, look so tiny and confused.
The entryway is crowded and bustling. There are a lot of first-year students who are definitely younger than you guys running around, and they look excited and confused. There are older kids trying to help the younger ones. There are professors running around trying to make things make sense. Like, there's just a lot going on. The step team is performing. The band is playing. Like, everybody is hyped because it is the first day of school at Inglewood College, a high school for magic kids. And you see several professors, encouraging students to hurry up and go to the assembly hall. And one of them kind of reminds you of Mariah Carey, and like 2 of them remind you of like Method Man and Red Man. And there's just like a bunch of like awesome, magical looking Black people running around trying to get all these kids to go to the assembly hall.
I'm going to the assembly hall. I'm gonna.
Never seen myself look more like a lost puppy in my life. But that JanSport, though.
I'm gonna follow the crowd because they seem to know where they're going, and maybe I will also look like I know where I'm going.
Adult me is like thinking about like whether like what this means, and is also going like, wait a second, if the teachers at the school are magical, then is the janitor just a normal person? So there's just a lot of stuff that I need to like process in this situation.
Adult me has never seen me look more nervous in a room. I'm just shuffling my feet behind other kids like I know what I'm doing.
Adult me remembers
So-
this feeling very well and is not enjoying it.
So the four of you, basically, you blend in, and you follow the other students. And every student's dressed in their uniform, which is a black cloak and a stylish black beret. And you look at yourselves and you realize that you all have on your own little black cloaks and your black berets, and you've got little like buttons or patches or things that make it your own. You can definitely still see Morgause's like mall goth 2004 mindless self-indulgence vibe. You've all got your own things going on. And when you walk, there are like banners of magical, famous black folks, and your adult selves are kind of having a moment where you're like, I didn't know Kerry Washington was all witch, but also it makes sense. And you also pass a banner that proclaims the school's motto, because bitches love magic.
Short and sweet, I like it.
It's music to my ears.
So you all sit down in the assembly hall with all the other students, and you guys are near each other, but you get the vibe that maybe your younger selves are not necessarily homies the way that your adult selves now are. And as you go ahead.
Can I know how you explain how flashbacks work, but I haven't. You can tell me if you don't want this to happen. Can my future self talk to the subconscious of my past self, but we're all both curious as to what's happening? My past self doesn't know what's going on, and my future self doesn't know what's going on.
I mean, I feel like I feel like all Moseses are very confused. And I don't mean like people named Moses. I mean like young Moses, old Moses, baby Moses.
Yeah,
So,
Moses Danny.
Yeah, Moses Danny is always confused. So yes, I will allow it with caveats. If it gets too weird and I feel like you're too influencing the past to change things, then I might make you roll for it. But at this current moment, yes, old you can pretend to be the conscious of young you.
Okay. In that case,
Oh, good.
I was going to say just one comment. I'm sorry. My past self, my future self looks at past self and goes like, what the hell's going on here? And my past self goes, I don't know. Let's find out.
What were you going to say, Darius?
I grab myself by the shoulders, but I can't because it doesn't happen. And I'm just like, buy Bitcoin, get all of it.
No, see, that's what I'm saying. You can't. I'm not going to let you change the past like that.
Yeah,
You can't tell it to buy
do it and I
Bitcoin. If
fail.
it's
I'm like,
stock
darn it.
You try it and you notice that your younger self is just completely unfazed. Nothing happens. And then that proves to all of you guys that like you can't change the past. You can't influence it. You are here as observers. So as things in the assembly hall, they start to die down because the headmaster of the school, Delroy Lindo, takes the assembly stage. And the band stops playing. All the professors, sit down and kind of make y'all shush. Everybody shushes, and Delroy Lindo gets up and he begins the magical announcements. And he says, "I'm gonna have to try and do a Delroy Lindo voice right now. This is gonna suck, you guys." He says, "Good morning and welcome back to Inglewood College, a high school for magic kids. We are so excited to begin the 2004-2005 school year. Welcome to all of our new magical students. Black students from far and wide come to Inglewood College, a high school for magic kids, to learn the ways of black magic. And I don't mean evil magic, I mean magic for black people. As members of the magical black delegation, you are here to perform magical black things. And everybody gives him a round of applause. And he says, first of all, I would like to start the year with a moment of silence for Juliet Washington. She is one of our most gifted witches, and sadly, she has gone missing this summer. And Morgause, you, as your adult self, see your young self have a moment, because Juliet Washington was your best friend prior to this. And everybody, they have their moment of silence. It's very hard for you to get through Morgause. And then Delroy Lindo, he continues and he says, each student this year is assigned a check-in group. It will be on your class schedules. We want to make sure that you all are together in groups. That way we don't have any other students go missing. Also, this year we will have the Quintuple Delegation Tournament. And I know that some of you are wondering what that means. Students from the Black, Brown, Asian, Native, and Northeast delegations will come here this year to present their new magical findings. It is important that we keep peace within the delegations and that we learn from each other. That way we don't appropriate from each other. We appreciate one another. And you hear a student somewhere go, the Northeast delegation? And then one of the other one goes, yeah, white people don't like being called white. You can laugh, that shit was funny. As Delroy Lindo continues his speech, and he says, we will also be having study abroad students from each delegation. Each delegation has sent some students here to our school to learn from us prior to the competition. We have also sent a handful of students to other schools. LaQuavius, Ray Ray, Johnny, Mo, Vicky, Ronnie, Ricky, Bobby, Mike, and he names off 20 Black students. And he says that they'll all be, they are all assigned to each other as buddy system, but also they're studying abroad, so probably they won't have the same problem as Juliet. And after he reads the names of all 20 Black students, he then leads everybody through a chorus of the school song. What is the school song, y'all? We can decide. We didn't decide that in session 0, so let's talk about it right now.
The Black National Anthem, right?
The National Negro Anthem?
Yeah, right?
Okay, then he leads everybody through a chorus of the National Negro Anthem.
Can it be one of those times where like they do the second verse and then everybody just like?
So here's the thing. Amanda Seals does a great bit about this, and I don't want to rip off her bit from her stand-up, but she does this great bit about how the first verse of the National Negro Anthem, everybody sings it like they're like in church doing a hymnal, and it's like so sweet and like graceful. And then the second verse comes, and everybody puts stank on it. Like you get stanky with that second verse. I'm shocked that you said the National Negro Anthem. I thought for sure y'all were going to say something like Spruce Goose or like From the Window to the Wall. Like I thought we were going to go there.
I mean,
that was a close second.
I think those are fight songs. The school fight songs.
I was going to say Shake It Fast.
Mm-hmm.
Shake It Fast is a
Watch
good
yourself.
one.
Show me what you're working with. Your magic skills, right?
You shake the wand.
So Delroy Lindo leads y'all through the National Negro Anthem and then says, okay, everybody go get your class schedules from, they're lined up alphabetically by last name. Get your schedule and proceed to your first class of the day. And Morgause Maywood, you are the first one to get up and go get your class schedule. And you see immediately that you are assigned to the check-in group of Darius Miller, Buffy Jenkins, and Moses Danny. And you also have divination as your first class of the day.
I'm glad that at least I've been paired with people that I've made eye contact with before. So I'm pretty stoked about that. We've seen each other and they haven't immediately hated me, so we're gravy. And I'm stoked about divination. It seems like it'll be fun.
Darius, how do you feel when you get your class schedule? Which and you notice that you two also have divination first class.
Yeah, I like look at it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I just try to fold the paper into like a cool origami. This is my most otaku period of my life, which might be ridiculous. You're like, why would a child in a literal magic school be obsessed with fantasy worlds? There's something magical about anime no matter where you're from. And that's something I think we can all agree on.
I mean, yes, I agree 100%, but I was going to ask why you didn't like use magic to fold it, because you can do that.
I sometimes also forget that I know actual magic. Like clean the room and just be like, oh, I could have magicked that.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Moses?
I look at my schedule, and future me kind of like leans in to look at it. I don't remember taking those classes. And then past me goes, hey, I'm not going to these classes.
Buffy, how do you feel about your class schedule? You also have divination first period.
I look at my schedule, and for once in my life, I think I'm happy about school. Like, I seem stoked, like I got the right teachers or something.
Yeah, we love it. So everyone is exiting the assembly hall. You two, you all exit the assembly hall and you make your way to divination. And you guys are, this is your junior year. So you've been at Inglewood College, a high school for magic kids, for 2 years already. So you know your way across the campus, and the campus is absolutely beautiful. You would have no idea that it's in a magical void behind Randy's Donuts, because it has like all the best pieces of California scenery. It's like a huge castle on top of a hill, and you can see the ocean, and you can hear the bird noises. Pretend that I made bird noises again. And my computer just made a bird noise. Somebody's did.
Bird.
You can hear bird. That actually did sound more a bit like a bird noise than the other one I made earlier. Bird. So you hear lots of bird noises. You can see the ocean. There's palm trees. It's like that beautiful part of like Central California where there's like palm trees and redwoods at the same like locale. Like, it's just gorgeous. It's a huge, impressive castle. It's beautiful. It's built up. And from the window, you can see one of the beloved school landmarks, the tree. It's a tree. That looks like Michael Jackson. So you all get to divination class, and you see your professor. And it's the woman who looked like, she reminded your older selves of Mariah Carey. Actually, her name is Kariah Mary. And she comes in and she's like, who's ready to learn how to read some tea leaves, you guys?
I'm immediately dubious.
I'm wondering why there's a white person in this school.
And you have that thought, and Kariah Mary looks at you and she goes, I'm only white passing, honey. My daddy's black. And if you doubted her power before, you're definitely starting to buy into it at this point. And Darius, you look around, and even though like you're not necessarily a stickler for rules, you do notice that, you know, buddy system, Moses is not in class.
I immediately raise my hand and I say, excuse me, teacher Kariah Mary. My buddy is gone, and I think that this is an emergency, and I need to go save him.
And she looks at you and she says, that is a little unorthodox, but I will allow it.
I say thank you. I'll be back. No one's gonna die on my watch. I just break out the room.
So we're gonna come back to Moses and Darius in a moment. Professor Mary tells you guys to take out your divination texts, and she starts handing out cups of tea to everyone, and she's just like, tea leaves are like a pretty basic introduction to, like, you know, divination and future telling, but I feel like it's a very great place to start because, like, everybody enjoys tea in the morning. Yeah. And she passes out the cups of tea, and she asks, does anybody take honey with their tea? Because, you know, I love honey. It's like when your love pours all over me. And she hands Morgause and Buffy their tea glasses, and she begins the lesson. And we'll come back to that in a second. We're going to smash cut now to Moses. Where the fuck are you?
I'm wandering the halls, sipping the last bit of my hot coffee that is probably lukewarm, muttering to myself, what's that over there? Huh. What's that place?
Darius, what? Let's see. I have your character sheet, but I thought we were going to be doing mostly world building today, so I didn't like super memorize it. Let's see. If you were going to go look for Moses, do you think that would be grit or brains?
That would be both are really low.
I know.
That might be. Oh man, it's much more fun if it's brains. So
right, it's fun if it's brains because brains is super low. But if I feel like it's kind of grit, you're just like doing the right thing, even though you know.
The power of my friendship gives me strength. So
yeah. So I feel like it's grit. So use your D6 and give me a roll, please.
Will do. That is a 6, which means
it means the dice explodes.
No, why?
What?
I get to roll again, right? And add the two together. I also
yeah. That's what in Kids on Brooms they call it. If you roll the max on whatever die that is, then that die explodes, and you get to roll again and add it to. So you got a 6, so you get to roll again and add like a 3 to that 6 and like super win.
So that is a 2. So that's 8.
It's an 8. So I had said it. So this is a side note. This is one of my favorite things about the Kids on Brooms and Kids on Bikes systems is that the DM isn't beholden to like character sheets or like what's written on the whatever. Like the DM gets to make up whatever beats like on the fly. So I don't have to like fucking memorize armor classes or any of that other garbage that was throwing me up. I just get to say roll a dice and like in my head, I'm like, 3 is what's going to beat. Which, by the way, that's what I did. 3 was what you had to beat. So you definitely can find Moses just wandering the hallway, drinking his lukewarm coffee, and being like, that's a nice painting. Hey, look at that statue.
I put my hand on his shoulder and I say, it's time to come back.
Well, come again? Where are we going?
We have to go to class, man.
Oh, I threw my thing away. Where am I supposed? I don't know. I don't know where I'm supposed to go.
Divination, come with me, and I just like start running.
I'm gonna run behind him like I'm attached to him, even though I am not attached.
No, I mean, but that makes sense though, because in real life, if black people see another black person running, they start running.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a real
going. Oh my god, who's behind us?
That's actually a very.
I know, it doesn't matter. There are like
Leprechaun.
YouTube videos about it, but I can tell you personal anecdotes where like one time I was at a party, it was a work function, and so all the black people that we worked with went to go take a photo together, and there was a new hire. This was literally his first day on the job, and he walks up as we're taking the picture, and he's like, I want to be in the picture. And we were like, where did you come from? And he goes, well, I noticed that all the other Black people were missing, so I had to go find you guys. That's like a thing. So like, yes, if Darius started running, like Moses would definitely just run too. That's just how, in fact, I'm going to give you inspiration for that, Moses, because you're playing true to character. And technically, the Kids on Broom system does not have inspiration. That is one rule that I will break because I like rewarding my players. You can't take that from me. Anyway, you guys run. You get back to divination, and everyone has emptied their tea cups, and they're like studying the leaves on the bottom. And you hear some people like being like, oh, hey, like, maybe this means it's going to be a harsh winter. And they're kind of like flipping back and forth between their textbooks and whatnot. Buffy, what are you doing right at this moment?
I'm looking at my tea leaves, and they don't really seem to match anything I'm reading in the book. If anything, they're kind of like matching a multitude of things. So I'm looking to see if anyone's watching, so I could possibly cheat off of somebody.
Also, what are you doing?
Morgause has been furiously taking notes on everything that Karaya Mary is saying, like even her offhanded comments with weird little annotations in the margins. And so she finally turns to look into her cup, and she's not sure if she's seeing things or not, but the tea leaves kind of seem to shift and warp until a shape forms, and it looks kind of like a bird.
It looks kind of like a bird. And when you look at your textbook again, you see that birds mean that something is coming, and it's ominous. And so your hand like shoots up like teacher's pet status. You are ready to tell Professor Mary what is going on in your teacup. Darius and Moses, do y'all say anything when you come back in class?
Mission complete. And in my mind, like, I got like XP and like my stats went up.
So yes, you do that. And Karaya Mary, like she pats your desk, like instead of like patting your head because you're too old for that, she like pats the desk and like good job. And she just kind of cuts Moses a look. And Moses and Darius both sit down. Moses, what do you do?
I shake my cup. I look around. Are there any tea cups that have tea still in them?
Yes. There's some like up at the front of the room.
I get up. I walk over, grab a teacup, put my empty cup in its place, and then I walk back to my desk and start drinking the tea.
And again, Professor Mary just kind of looks at you. Like she's judging you for sure. She's just not saying anything. And Morgause, she finally notices that your hand is up, and she walks over to you, and she's just like, yes? Miss Maywood?
Is this bird a bad thing? Because the book says it's a very bad thing, and I have concerns.
Oh, honey, divination is not all doom and gloom. It can be quite delightful. If it's a penguin, that's good news, and penguins are birds. And she grabs your cup and she looks into it, and it's not a penguin. It is the ominous bird. And she like looks into it, and her eyes like roll in the back of her head, and like you can see the whites of her eyes, and she like looks up, and it looks kind of like her, in movies when somebody talks and like their mouth is glowing because it's like possessed or whatever, and she like does that garbage, and then she just says in like this deep gravelly voice, not her like high like airhead kind of voice, like in a deep gravelly voice, she goes, Montero is coming. And then like her head drops and the cup falls on the ground and shatters. And then she kind of comes back to herself and like looks around the room.
Morgause is like 13 seconds from a panic attack and trying to figure out what the fuck just happened. Because so far, this is a bad first day of school. I don't think you're supposed to get the death bird in your first class on the first day.
Montero's a dope name.
Truly.
Montero is a dope name. Sidebar, I don't understand why he has a rap name when his real name is Montero. But
Me either.
anyway.
I'm gonna knock my tea back by accident, and I'm gonna start laughing at the teacher. I said, "Yo, did you guys see that?"
And Professor Mary immediately goes, "Oh, there was nothing to see." And she pulls her wand out and like cleans up the broken cup really quickly and like moves around. And she starts talking to other students and she's like, that the annotation you have right there is not necessarily correct. I would check page 35. And like really makes herself busy not talking about what just happened.
No one else saw that. She straight up.
No talking, students. We're gonna go to silent study for the rest of the hour. And she like basically puts a charm on the room that even if you talk, no one else is gonna hear you. And so the rest of the hour passes very quietly, and the bell rings, class is adjourned, and you all hit the hallway. And per the rules of your buddy system, the four of you go to check in with one another. What's that conversation sound like?
Okay, so y'all saw her catch the spirit, right? That happened.
Her eyes went
Yeah,
back.
girl. That was the Holy Ghost.
It's like she got back shots.
And then sis
what's
fully
going on?
just pretended that didn't.
That's shady.
I mean, maybe you did a good job and you're really good at this, DK.
I mean, what kind of good job
Yes,
sounds
I
like
think-
that? Montero? Come on.
I mean, I don't know who Montero is, but
He sounds like a bad bitch.
Well, the symbol, at least in the book, it says that it means something bad is coming. And then she caught the spirit, and her eyes turned white, and it was awful. It almost. I'm not saying that I believe in reading tea leaves. I'm just saying I might now believe in reading tea leaves.
Wait.
I think we're gonna have to defeat this guy.
I mean, maybe he's your husband.
Were we reading tea leaves this entire time in that class?
Yep.
Yeah, what were you doing?
None, yeah.
And as you guys are chatting, you see that Delroy Lindo is walking around just making sure everybody gets to class on time. And there are a lot of professors in the hallway because of what happened to Juliet. Like you can tell that it's very like not necessarily heightened security, like that's not the right word, but it's definitely a different vibe from the previous school year. And the adults are way more in your business. And so Delroy Lindo's walking around going, "Get to class, y'all, get to class." And it makes you all take out your class schedules and look at what your next class is. What classes do you have this semester, everyone, please?
I threw my schedule away.
Morgause?
I'm taking divinations, potions, history of black magic. And I told my mother that I was going to take history of film, but it's just a goofy movie, but I actually signed up for Ho Shit.
Yes, Ho Shit is a real class that you can take at Inglewood College, a magical school for Black kids. And you definitely would lie to your mom about that. I agree with that. Buffy, what classes are you taking?
I'm taking divination, good hair 101, ho shit, and I don't know. My mom wants me to take computers, but I don't really think that's very important, but it's on my schedule. I might drop it. How'd you know now?
Darius?
So my character was inspired and is just going to spend all their time buying Bitcoin. Sleight of hand, code switching 101, and defense against malicious magic. Because the abbreviation is damn, and it's a swear word.
So you, Darius, look at Moses, who has thrown his class schedule away, and you tell him to just come with you to defense against malicious magic and pretend like he belongs there, and maybe you'll both get away with it. Because you're still all about the buddy system. And Morgause and Buffy both have to head off to host shit, because that is their second period. So you say your goodbyes, and you take off in opposite directions, and Delroy Lindo's still yelling at people to get to classes. And Morgause and Buffy, you both are not necessarily paying attention. You walk into the class where host shit is being held this year. It's down on the bottom floor of the building down by the dungeons, or the castle, not the building. It's down on the bottom floor of the castle by the dungeons. You walk into the classroom where host shit is being held, and you both take a seat, and you look at the front of the classroom, and your professor walks in, and your professor is Erica Badont, aka the bag lady.
I knew that bitch.
So she did pick us for a reason. This is adult me reasoning out. She did. She knew us. She must have known us before. And was she waiting for us in the future? Morgause is just very weirded out in general by the whole day so far, and is just thoughts running a mile a minute.
As they should. And that, my dear friends, is where we're going to call it a night. On a juicy ass cliffhanger. Come on, it's the first episode. I had to put some fan service in there, some stuff to, pay off for our friends who have joined us again here in the second season. And what's better than a nice ass cliffhanger? People have got to come back and find out what happens with the bag lady.
Well,
Truth.
I feel like
we're learning.
We
are learning things, okay?
What'd you say, Jeff?
Oh, I feel like people love us for our Mariah Carey references, because who's better than Mariah Carey?
Well, they
also
like
love my bird noises.
Yeah, they like their first season because of all your sound effects.
My horse noises and my bird noises. I should be an animal impersonator as my next career. That's my next move, guys. No, thank you so much all for joining us this evening. This is really the highlight of my week, when we're able to meet and play games together and hang out with y'all. I'm Jordan. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me at Lambertra. When I'm not here doing this, I'm probably thinking about being here doing this and writing the next session. Kiki?
I'm Kiki. You can find me at The Life of Kiki on all the social medias. And when I'm not here, I am probably doing my job, because it takes a lot of my time. And what about my homegirl DK?
I'm DK. My pronouns are she, they, or whatever, as long as you're polite about it. You can find me at Atrocity Kitsch on Instagram, and then later this summer, you can find me and Jordan in an additional D&D 5e homebrew game. I'm going to throw it to the ultimate homie, Moses.
I hope I'm not muted. I'm Moses. Thanks, DK. If I'm not here, you can find me probably surfing the internet or watching HBO Max. If I'm not doing those things, I'm probably dead on the inside. But you know who's not dead on the inside? It's actually a truly great human being, Jeff.
Only one of those things is true. So just figure out which one.
You gotta figure it out.
So the that's a mean thing to say about myself. Oh man. Hey, I'm Jeff. Pronouns are he, him. Thank you, Jordan. I feel validated by you. If you for the next week, I'm going to be working on that intro song because nobody told me that we didn't have one. So I'm going to be in the studio. Feel free to drop me some beats, and I will shamelessly steal them and call it sampling. So it's not appropriation; it's stealing. Let's throw it back to Jordan, who's great and the ultimate.
So that is episode 1 of season 2, Blackness and Dragons, Blackness and Magic. We're gonna find out together why the bag lady chose them and what happened in their past. Love you much. See you next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. DJ Batrick is gonna come back. Okay, bye.
Yeah.